Tapley, what are you looking at in the future, or even right now? What are you excited about the company? Are there any new technologies? Are you focused more on the research? Are you really doubling down on the kind of infectious diseases? What are you guys doing right now?
I think us, what we have works, and it's only getting better because the software is learning. And what we're focused on now is getting ready to start getting the message out. Because I think that we've kind of held on to this a little, long enough to where people say it's hard to find a lot of information about you. And that's purposeful, because a treatment that works, and a treatment that works is nobody's friend. It's only a friend to those who are really suffering and who really need hope. And we've benefited from, and for this to work, a long time ago, I said, if this is really going to work, if this is really doing what I think that it's doing, then we as the company can't be promoting this. The patient themselves have got to be the ones on the front lines screaming it from the rooftops. And now you flash forward, 5 years later, and we've gained this word of mouth groundswell organic following. And now I think we're at a point to where, okay, it's time to get the word out. It's time to start using these patients who really want to tell their story. They want to be ambassadors for this, because we're in that age right now where people are informing other people. And when it comes to chronic diseases and the prevalence of Lyme, I mean, that is kind of where our heart and focus is as the company, because I can't believe how many sick people are out there, but we just learn to live with it. And I'm like, that is not a way to live. It's not a way to live. And the second thing that I think that our passion is I want to heal these kids.
Yeah. No, it's not a way to live with disease ever. And unfortunately, more and more children are impacted. That's a long, long life of suffering, which no one wants to see. And again, it's something that we don't seem to have any real solutions in conventional medicine. And that's why it's so important sometimes to think outside the box and do things like True Dose.
If you don't mind, I want to talk about what this does for kids, and
please.
And I want the emotional part.
Yeah.
When it comes to kids, it's kind of like these Epstein-Barr, Facebook groups. You can't just muscle your way in there. Because people are, even if you have something that really works, it's good. You have to be invited. And when it comes to kids, autism, cerebral palsy, dyslexia, ADHD, learning disabilities, I always end our educational Zoom calls by telling everybody in the Zoom call this: I would be remiss if I didn't tell you what this does to your kids, your grandkids. It literally rewires the brain. Kids that are dyslexic are no longer dyslexic anymore. Kids that are having trouble learning, kids that have social disabilities, they can't interact with strangers, that goes away. My kid doesn't have any aspirations. He doesn't have any this. All of a sudden they become motivated. When the brain becomes rewired, we become the person that we want. We were always designed and created to be. And so kids respond. I mean, I've done this to all my kids. I'm not afraid to say that, 2 of my 5 children were below the reading exam in Texas for their grade level. I said, it's time to get them a treatment. They got tested again in the spring, and now they do really well at math. They just struggle at reading like a lot of kids. Mm-hmm. They got the test again in the spring, and they're at mastery. And now they thrive. Not only do they can they read better, but they thrive at reading, and they have an interest in reading beyond just what they're being told to read in school. So kids academically, we have not seen a kid whose grades have not improved. Kids whose growth charts. I mean, I remember my parents used to always tell me, "You're supposed to be 6'4". Well, why am I not 6'4"? It's because with kids out of the gates today, their bodies are continually met with stress, foods, environment, you know, genetics given down by mom, you know, her genetics, and not just genetics, but the epigenetics. Kids are meant to thrive, but they can't thrive when their body's focused on defense. And what we've seen with kids is that kids who are under, you know, their growth charts and they're under where they should be, they soar past it. All my kids have shot up like, you know, they grow like weeds. When they get all this inflammation going away, the body can focus on doing what it was designed to, which is thrive. So what this does,
yeah. Children are incredible responders to these types of therapies, aren't they?
They respond so well because their bodies are in such growth mode.
Yeah.
They're soaking everything in, right?
Yeah.
They're out of the gate, they're trying to thrive.
And they're also incredible patients because they don't have that kind of skepticism or jaded mentality or belief systems that are kind of broken. They are so innocent in their own ways that they just take in the information of any therapy and use it as it should be used, rather than doubt, fear, skepticism of many patients that have already gone through a conventional route and kind of say, I'm out of hope here and nothing will work for me, and stuck in a belief system of sickness. I think children aren't there yet, and you see them respond to these types of more natural, biological, and integrative therapies. And it should always be the first route in their child, and it is really, really disappointing that often it's shut out, by many doctors as even being an option, and we go straight for drugs and surgery with a child that could be forever changed and hurt by it.
We've done as not we, when I say we, but I know that we have practices that have done as young as 2-year-olds, you know, who had, you know, think about a family whose 3 boys are all autistic, and it's like they were not at one point autistic, and now 2 of them are autistic, and then one of them, his glasses are so thick he has to hold the iPad up to his eyes because he can't even see. Well, now these 2 boys who are autistic, their teachers are like, "What the heck did you do to these boys?" They're thriving. Not only are they thriving, you know, cognitively. Not only is their brain being rewired, not only do they have letters and they can speak and they can socially integrate, but they emotionally integrate.
Yes.
And what I mean by that is that I love hearing when moms send me the videos where the kid says, "I love you, mom," and it's unprompted.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like, "Can you say I love you?" Well, you know, kids can say "I love you" back even when but when they say it unprompted, it means that they are now able to connect on a level that they were incapable of connecting.
Yeah,
and that's that emotional piece.
That's something special, you know. Tapley, where can people learn more about true dose therapy?
Well, now we've got a great website, the TrueDoseTherapy.com, that we're continually adding all the testimonials and updating any type of data that we've learned. But basically, TrueDoseTherapy.com. And then obviously they'll give the locations of all the different providers who are using the treatment, you guys being one of them. And, you know, the first thing people are going to find out, this is so great, is why is this not all over the place? There's a real good reason for that. Number one, we're very picky on who use this. And number two, that won't be for long, because we're going to start, we're not going to, you know, be so quiet about this. We're going to start upgrading and telling these stories on social media and we're going to let these patients do what they've been wanting to do, which is tell everybody.
Yeah, I think the time is now for that. I mean, I agree with you. There's something to be said about the right time and doing it in an atmosphere that allows you to keep growing and everything. But it seems the time is now, because there is a little bit of a tipping point. If you don't do it now, then when? And too many people will be hurt by that, in a sense of kind of not hearing about, not having the awareness of these options.